Too black, too strong. Too black, too strong.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna fuck with me.
Any character approach me, I let the streets get the best of me. Infamy, my destiny. Getting paid for my vocal. Here is something you can't understand.
I can just kill a man.
Hear it. So now I'm setting up the ultimate drive-by. And when you hear this shit, it make the world say, damn. I wanna kill Slam. Give me that bass and don't try to run up. I hope he wears vest too, and his best blue. Going up against the Zulu. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Casino on the ass, spotted her more than once. Ass so fat that you can see it from the front. You fuck off my money, don't cop no sleep. Cause I'm the wrong nigga to fuck with.
I'm the boss of all boss. I'm the boss of all boss. I'm the boss of all boss. I'm the boss of all boss.
Alright, this is your boy Daniel Ty, D-Ty90, also known as the student of hip hop, here today with the Falsetto Audio Show. And goddamn, there's a lot of motherfucking shit to cover. I apologize everybody for being gone on Monday. Yesterday, I had to do driving school. I got a ticket. I actually, quick story, got 2 tickets in 1 day, or 2 tickets in 1 week. On a Monday, I got a ticket for driving in the carpool lane. That was $400. And then on Wednesday, I got a ticket for speeding. I was going 60 in a 45. That happened on Wednesday. And it was on a frontage road, so if you're not from Arizona, the shit is like a one-way road on the side of the freeway. So like there's a freeway, then there's like a little option on the side. A little option on the side, it's like near a residential neighborhood, but it's also near businesses, and it's kind of a main road. Either way, I was just going 45. The motherfucker was waiting, caught me slipping. So I had to do driving school last night. This shit took 4 hours. It was dreadful. But I got it done. It's out of the way. They took my money and nothing more to be said. But that's why I couldn't record yesterday. So either way, though, we got a lot of shit to cover. So it's time for me to get into it right now. So the first quick news I want to go ahead and bring up is Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill is finally going on tour for the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill album. The album came out 20 years ago, and now she's going on tour. So this is the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill tour. I started to think about it though, and I realized this is the only full-length album that Lauryn Hill has ever put out solo. All of her other music has either been little singles, some sort of small series of music in between since then, or it was with the Fugees. But obviously, the album is so amazing. If all she performs is nothing but this album, the tour is already worth the money. It is already worth the money. Very excited, very excited. I believe in Phoenix, she's coming in like June or August. I got to double check the tour dates, but I'll make sure to get those up on the IG. Now, the news that is being talked about the most, actually not even talked about the most, there's so much goddamn news, but Kendrick Lamar winning the Pulitzer Prize. Little round of applause for Kendrick Lamar. It is fucking amazing. And there's a couple different things I want to address about it. It's for the album Damn. I'll make sure to say that's for the album Damn. But there's a couple things I want to address about it. Now, the first thing that I didn't realize, for just me personally, when I first listened to this album, and I listened to the album, and I was like, damn, this shit's different. And it took me a couple times to listen to the album all the way through, and obviously in chronological order, for me to really be able to take in how dope this album was and all the different sounds, just because they had so many different sounds and hybrid kind of sounds that were created, and it was produced phenomenal. There's not a sound out of place. There's nothing that flares up. There's none of this bullshit. 5-star production, 5-star engineering. So with that said, it personally is not my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. Still, my favorite Kendrick Lamar album is The Pimp a Butterfly, but that's more so for the content of the album. The content as a rap album itself, I choose To Pimp a Butterfly over it. I still feel like We Gonna Be Alright. We Gonna Be Alright was the official chant that year when it came out. And I love Black of the Berry. And I love King Kunta. Those songs alone did it for me. And I still would rather listen to those songs right now rather than opposed to like Humble, which is kind of on my nerves. Not in a bad way, not in a bad way. It's just I just heard it so much. And then same thing with DNA. I still love the Duckworth storytelling. That's probably the best storytelling from Kendrick, if not the second best storytelling for Kendrick. Only second to I think it's the Backseat Freestyle, where he talks about him and his buddies, him and his friends going out, hitting a lick, and then just driving away. I made a left, made a right, made a right, made a left. That shit was dope too. That's probably the best that he's done. Those two for sure. And I realized that this damn album, because then he was getting all these awards at the Grammys, and he deserves it obviously. But I was like, still, I didn't really understand why. And there's a multitude of reasons. One, this Kendrick Lamar's damn album is a rap album that can be appreciated by people that don't like rap music per se. If you're not a fan of hip hop, if you're not a fan of rap music, it's sometimes you just listen to pop, you just kind of listen to R&B, you just want to stick with that. If you just fucking listen to fucking classical, jazz, country, whatever you listen to, this album has something for you in it. And you vibe to it and you can feel it. And it feels like nothing's out of place. And so, which it makes sense the way it's described, the way that the Pulitzer describes the music is, here's the exact quote. They decided that the album, the album is a word of vernacular avant-garde. It's a dense, sophisticated collage of hybrid sounds, polyrhythms layered under what we would probably consider a pulsing kinetic text. The brilliance of the music is what's shown through. Now, I could not have, in my own words, pieced that shit together to describe the album that way. But everyone is going to describe it in their own different way, and that's what's so phenomenal about it. So he most definitely deserves this. But I got my own little bone to pick with it, not with the album itself, but with him winning the award. So obviously, Kendrick Lamar deserves all the awards that he gets, especially for this album. But award shows, it seems like, are finally showing some praises to hip hop. And I ask myself this, why? Because also, at the same token, and I apologize for jumping around, Jay-Z also recently won the Peabody Award for the Khalif Browder story. And the Peabody Award, they described as a powerful miniseries illuminating the greatest flaws in our criminal justice system. The Khalif Browder story faced off against other nominees, which was whittled down from 1,200 entries. So out of 1,200 visuals per se, they chose this. They actually choose 9 of them, but the Khalif Browder story happened to be one of them. Again, I believe this was directed by Ava DuVernay. She is fucking amazing as well. Jay-Z just happened to be executive produce this, but nonetheless, the story he is telling, it's amazing that this was able to win this award. Now, I've never heard, and also Beyonce's won a Peabody Award for Lemonade is what I saw. And I started thinking to myself, well, what's the Peabody Award? And the Peabody essentially is a parallel to the Pulitzer Prize. It's an equivalent. And the Pulitzer specializes more so just in audio, strictly audio, whereas the Peabody works on electronic media. So they started off with radio, and they've just kind of evolved it into all different forms of broadcast. So it went from radio to regular news TV, and then news TV, and went from cable TV, and then from cable TV, it's gone to internet, i.e. Netflix and such. But either way, and if you see, since they're literally watching all 1,200 of these films, which is why the Khalif Browder story came out in 2016, and it's just now winning the award now because they just now announced it. And obviously this is another scenario where this story did deserve this award. This production ultimately deserved it. And it just makes it that much more significant that it's telling the story about our criminal justice system. And quite frankly, this, in addition to 13 that was produced, shit damn near made me cry. Not damn near, the shit made me cry. It is that powerful. And it just puts together a puzzle that you didn't really know was going on, or you knew was going on, but you didn't know how to piece it together in chronological order, how it transitions from slavery to Jim Crow to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and mass incarceration and everything in between. And I won't go into all of that, but why would the people that are from these organizations, the Peabody, the Pulitzer, why do they want to honor us? Why do they want to honor these productions? They've never honored these productions before. Anything like this. And this music has been around before. The way that they described the Kendrick Lamar album, that I told you before, this is probably exactly how I would describe the original Organized Noise albums. And actually, even more recent Organized albums, like the one for Big Boy that he put out, Boomiverse, that I believe was all Organized Noise production, or the original Outkast albums. And Outkast was the last, I believe was the last rap entity, period, group or regular person to win an Album of the Year Grammy. And this is just fresh on top of the noise. This is just fresh on top of my head that I remembered Organized Noise because, or I watched the Organized Noise documentary with my dad, and literally they had music that had really never been heard from anybody. Nobody has made music like Organized Noise since, and nobody had made music like Organized Noise at the time. And this shit was made in a fucking basement. A basement with dirt floors. That is the epitome of coming from the mud. Where you could pour a glass of water on the ground and there's mud right there, nigga. It's so humid that there's mud on the ground. It is a dirt basement. And they made legendary albums, legendary records. Outkast, Goody Mob. These people still have careers today. And they've birthed many other artists and production people who also have had lifelong careers. So again, I ask, why is this being praised now? Why was it not praised then? Well, I know many of us kept thinking, wow, this is kind of silly when they put it out there in the news that hip hop is the most popular genre in the world. And many of us within hip hop started to think, well, duh, we already knew that. Everything hip hop is winning. That's why pop stars have been going to get hip hop artists like your Katy Perry's and such, have been going to hip hop rappers, have been going to different rappers to get features, and have been going to hip hop producers to get production. Another example, Ariana Grande. There's no shortage of examples of pop stars that have gone to hip hop for a stimulus package, I like to call. So we've known that this is the case. But the people that are running these entities, like the Grammys, like Pulitzer, like Peabody, these people are in their minimum ages of 40, 50, 60, and they're either former engineers. A lot of people have like masters in audio production, audio engineers, doctorates. This is kind of what they do. And it's not that that's what they do in general, is just music, whether it's orchestras, scoring music for movies, and the list goes on. All the stuff that we don't really think of music being placed at, or it's just kind of where it's just kind of subconsciously heard. This is where they take place. So that's fine. So they're not in the loop though, as far as new music coming out and what people realistically want to listen to. We've known, if you're within hip hop, you've known over the past minimum, probably since 50 Cent and DMX, that this is what people are listening to, is hip hop. So when that news came out last year, now this was redundant if you're in hip hop, but this is news if you're outside of hip hop. If you put yourself in the mind state of a 45-year-old, let's say white man, and you're not in the loop as far as new music at all, really. You still listen to fucking Metallica and shit. And that's fine. It's great music. But you're not really aware of any new music in general, let alone hip-hop music. So you're not aware that this is the most dominating genre. You're not aware that anything attached to hip-hop ends up having a permanent place within hip-hop. Like I've spoke before about people like Amber Rose, who just all they had to do was just fuck a rapper and be seen in public with the rapper, with Kanye, and then Wiz, and now has the power to actually, it was kind of a combination. She took the power that she got from Kanye, lifted up Wiz lifted up her up too, and then she lifted up 21 Savage, 21 Savage lifted her up. And all she did was have sex with these men and dated them, just like any other female. It just so happens that she's got big titties and a big ass, which is wonderful and is great for the camera. And we all appreciate it. But why are they showing praise to hip hop now? Why are we winning these awards now? Because they realize, these awards realize that we are the stimulus package for them. I've never heard of a Pulitzer Prize. I've never heard of a Peabody Award before yesterday. Yesterday, I had never heard of them. I was not aware of them. Now anybody in hip hop, everybody who's something in hip hop is aware of it. And now it's on the radar. This stuff was not on the radar before, and now it is. And this is significant for them. This is promo and all of the shit they can sell with it. And it also builds up the credibility. It builds up the cachet. It builds up the entity itself to be able to say Kendrick Lamar is an award winner. So same thing, and I'll give one more example, is Jermaine Dupri, who was recently put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So he's the second person from hip-hop versus Jay-Z that's been put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He's written for Criss Cross, Bow Wow, Escape, Mariah Carey, Monica, and I forget all the involvement, but Janet Jackson as well. And he's just now being put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Same with Jay-Z. They're just now being put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame because this is a stimulus package for them. This is a stimulus package for the Songwriters Hall of Fame. For when anybody's asked about the significance of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, well, yeah, we've got so-and-so rock person. We got so-and-so country artist. And we got Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri is associated with Mariah Carey. Oh my God, Mariah Carey. Jay-Z associated with Beyonce. Oh my God. This is a stimulus package for them. I was not fully aware of the song. I had heard of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, but I wasn't fully aware of all that encompassed the Songwriters Hall of Fame until Jay-Z. So same thing with the Grammys. The Grammys tried to get these high ratings by putting all these hip hop acts on that deserved it. Migos deserved it. Rhapsody deserved it. Kendrick deserved it. Jay-Z deserved it. Josh Gambino deserved it. Tyler, the Creator, deserved it. SZA deserved it. They all deserved to be nominated, and they all probably should have got. And for the most part, they all should have gotten their awards. But they just wanted to nominate these. They just wanted to nominate us so that we get promotion, so that Rhapsody gets nominated, and then she goes and does interviews with The Breakfast Club and Rap Radar and Hot 97 and Big Boy or whatever. And she goes to all these agencies and she posts on her social media, gonna be at the Grammys, check me out, da-da-da-da. Same thing with Cardi B. I'm gonna be at the Grammys. Same thing with Jay-Z. I'm gonna be at the Grammys. To try and get us all to tune in to see all of our favorite people. That is the reason. That is why we're getting the stimulus package. And unfortunately, it's a game that's having to be played. It's a game that's having to be played because of the money that's associated with it. We always say, and I hear it constantly, we need to have our own Grammys. We need to have our own Grammys. We need to have our own Grammys. Well, we can have our own Grammys, and that's fine. But if we have our own Grammys, what is the credibility of it? What is it worth? If a new hip hop award show comes out tomorrow, and it's strictly hip hop, and it's accurate as fuck. It's got J. Cole, it's got Ghostface, Raekwon, Wu-Tang, Tupac, Biggie, fucking 50 Cent, everybody, DMX. It encompasses everything in hip hop with all of its history. What is it worth when I win this award? What comes along with it? What sort of money comes along with it? What sort of network connection and ties comes along with it? More than likely, nothing. More than likely nothing, except for more praise from your own community, which is amazing as well. But we give that praise. Hip hop community recognized that Kendrick's album Damn was phenomenal the week it came out. We recognized Kendrick was phenomenal before that. Kendrick had no problem with whatever price was for his feature. I don't know what the price is for a Kendrick Lamar feature, but if a Kendrick Lamar feature cost $250,000, even before Damn came out, if someone in hip hop wanted a Kendrick Lamar feature, that's what they were gonna pay. Because we realized the influence of Kendrick, we realized what it did for our music to have Kendrick featured on it. But who was gonna be willing to pay that $250,000 outside of hip hop? What would a pop star be willing to pay for it? What would someone who is producing a movie, i.e. Black Panther, be willing to pay for it? But when now Kendrick can say, I'm a Grammy Award winner, and Disney comes to him and says, we want you to do the music for Black Panther, his price may have went up from $5 million to $10 million because he's Grammy Award winning and he has 5 or 6 Grammys. I forget how many he won, but he said he has 5 or 6 Grammys. Now that invoice that he was going to charge Disney went from 5 mil to 10 mil, for example. That's the difference it makes. So that's to say this is going to happen with the Pulitzer Prize and the Peabody Award for Jay-Z and the Songwriters Hall of Fame for Jermaine Dupri. It builds up their cachet so that they could charge more. That's why people are so excited to get nominated for Grammys. That's why artists want to be top 100. That's why they want to chart. Nobody gives a fuck about the charts. I give 2 shits about who's on the chart and who's ranking, who's at the top. Now, if someone that I'm a fan of, like the E40 album came out, the E40 Be Legit album came out, if that's charting, I love seeing it. I'm happy. I'm excited. That's cool. But other than that, I give 2 shits. Or I really like Saba's album. So if I see that charting, which I think the single is, I'm excited. It's cool. But Saba and E40 and Be Legit, they're more excited if their shit charts because more promotion, charge more, and so on and so forth. So we're giving them a stimulus package. And the only reason I bring this up is because I haven't forgotten the way they've treated hip hop before. Hip hop music comes from oppressed people. This music doesn't come out, doesn't see the light of day. This music isn't created if black people aren't put in their conditions that they are. If black people aren't put in the projects and such in New York, then you don't necessarily get DJ Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash putting together hip hop the first time. You don't get the international value that Africa Bambaataa gave to hip hop, where it started to transcend the United States. And where the music took on a whole new sound. Because Grandmaster Flash sounds 1000% different than Africa Bambaataa did. And it set the tone for music always sounding different. At the same token, they tried to ban hip hop. Ice Cube said it before, and I believe it's in my intro track. Motherfuckers tried to ban hip hop. Even though they said that we were saying outlandish things and saying shit that wasn't true and promoting negative imagery, drugs, violence, whatever the fuck they want to say it was. We weren't promoting it. This is just what is being seen. If I happen to be a rapper, I can't rap. But if I rap and I never leave my backyard, if I just stay in my backyard, I'm just in a backyard with just a tent and I don't leave it all day. The only thing I can rap about is the grass, the trees, maybe of cars I hear going by, plants, bugs. That's it. That's what it's around me. So that's all I can talk about. If I could put some shit together in my imagination where, hey, I saw a balloon and the balloon popped and it landed in here and a bug ate it or whatever. Whatever my imagination could come up with, but even the imagination is somewhat limited by just whatever our brain can fathom. And I see it again. I see it in China, where China is banning hip hop in China from their people. And it's among a similar sentiment. It's different, but it's a similar sentiment where they don't want the people associated with quote unquote black music. But I just happened to come to my brain again because I seen an article where there's hip hop artists in China, obviously they're Chinese, they're doing underground shows. which makes perfect sense because that's how hip hop created, and that's where hip hop will always remain. It will always be underground. Yes, hip hop does exist in the mainstream, and it will continue to exist in the mainstream, and it will only grow within the mainstream. But ultimately, where you can always find the hip hop that you want is underground. We've sort of felt that over the past 5 to 10 years or so, that hip hop hit a space where it got dumb. With the mumble rap and the lean, it felt like it got dumb. But that was really only in the mainstream. That was really only people that were putting hip hop acts out in the mainstream. They didn't know anything about hip hop. The artists that we consider mumble rappers, like Migos, and Migos has kind of gotten exempt from it recently because they've improved their music. They've evolved their music. It's gotten better. But early Migos, Future, Designer, Uzi, Lil Yachty, and obviously those are just the names that we like to pick out. Lil Pump, off top. Those are names we like to pick out off top. But the thing is none of these artists have been ushered in by other hip hop artists. These artists haven't been put in the mainstream by other hip hop artists, with the exception of Migos. All these artists got deals with record labels. So majority of the time, these people behind record labels at the top aren't people from hip hop. I mean, your closest executive that's kind of from hip hop, we have Leor Cohen. I don't know if I pronounced that right. We have Leor. And he's hip hop, but he doesn't necessarily have the same outlook as some of the other artists, such as like a Jay-Z, who ushered in a J. Cole. So it felt like hip hop was dumb. But if you looked in the underground, you found artists like Logic. You found artists like Currency. You found artists like Nipsey. You found the dope hip hop just underground. That's where it was. It hadn't gone anywhere. That's where it started, and that's where it is. And I don't care if it's 5 years from now, 10 years, or 15 years from now. If you're looking for the 90s hip hop or 80s hip hop, you'll find it. It's in the underground. You just got to look for it. And if anything, it's easier to find now. It's just going to take you 15 or 20 minutes looking through SoundCloud to find it. That's it. 20 minutes every time. But if you just go to SoundCloud and you click the top 50 hip hop, yeah, you're going to get Lil Pump. Promise you. Promise you. And that's really the only thing that irks me when I see these awards. I really wish it didn't, but it does. Because it's more culture vultures. It's more being taken advantage of. It's more these puppets trying to manipulate us. But that's enough of the negativity. I'll move on to something that I'm super fucking excited for, and that is J motherfucking Cole. Jermaine is coming with an album entitled KOD this Friday, 4/20. So you can light up your weed, take your day off work, and listen to 12 amazing songs from J. Cole. A little bit about it is the album is 12 songs, no features. And what's pretty amazing is it was recorded in 2 weeks. Obviously, I don't know all the particulars about it because they're not out. This was just kind of information that came out that he talked about at his pop-up show in New York. But J. Cole, I was waiting for something for J. Cole. If you know me and you had talked to me, I've been saying J. Cole's got something coming. J. Cole's got something coming. And KOD is the title, but KOD, it stands for three things: Kids on Drugs, King Overdose, and Kill Our Demons. And one of the songs apparently is entitled 1985. In 1985, I'm still not 100% sure why it's entitled 1985. But but 1985, when I think about it and I look at the rap music that came out in 1985, it was like Run DMC, LL Cool J, and I don't know if it is any correlation with the Roxanne movie on Netflix, but Roxanne's Revenge also came out in 1985, which ultimately birthed Roxanne Shante. So I don't know if that's a correlation, because some of the reports are saying that there's not really any boom bap in this. It's real 808 heavy. So I'm guessing the lyrical style may be more 1985, but the beats are more now with just super 808 heavy, which is part of what was reported, that it was super 808 heavy. Now, what's the significance of this? The significance of this is exactly what the fuck I was just saying. That mumble rap is dead, nigga. Hip hop's not dead. Mumble rap is dead. J. Cole was killing it on False Prophets. He was killing it on, what was the other song that he put out at the same time as False Prophets? Forgive me, I don't remember. But you guys know the song. You can look it up. He's ready to kill these little motherfucking mumble rappers. Because he knows they not, that it's an illusion. It's just running its course. It's just a phase. So for that phase to end, we gotta end it. We gotta put new music out. And it's gotta be different. It's gotta sound different. It has to be some shit we had never heard of before. That's the only way we can get on and move to something else. But either way, I'm super excited for this J. Cole album. I can't wait. And it has me wondering, what other albums am I excited for this year? The first is, well, it's not top of my list, but it's up there next to J. Cole, is Redman. Redman is supposed to put out Muddy Waters 2 this year. He hasn't said exactly. I think he said he was aiming for more like June or May, I think. Which is interesting. Muddy Waters is a tough follow-up. Muddy Waters is probably, safe to say, is his best album. And an album that was really pivotal for Def Jam. And is part of a major catalog from EPMD, from Eric Sermon. And so I really hope there's Eric Sermon type production on here. But Redman is doing really well. I've looked at, he hasn't released really any of his own music, but I've seen him, he's done a lot of features. So like he was featured on the Snoop Dogg album that came out late last year, where he did Mount Cushmore. And then he was also on like 4 or 5 songs off the new Wu-Tang album that was produced by Mathematics. And his sound, his vocal, his sound worked really well with that Mathematics production. And the Redman sound worked really well with that West Coast Battle Cat production. So I'm guessing he's really trying to find where he's going to sound best. Probably because he won't have Eric Sermon to produce it. Probably just because of how expensive it is, and I believe he's independent. And Redman's albums before this, I don't even really remember what it was. It wasn't that good. I'm sorry. It was not good. I did not like listening to it. But either way, I'm super excited for Muddy Waters 2. I think Redman has seen a lot of dope music come out recently over the past year or so, and probably has a better idea of what he wants to bring to fill in the gaps. And I think that's something that is really difficult for anybody putting out new music right now, is how do you fill in the gaps? So last year was probably one of the best years we've had in a long time for rap music. We had the Rick Ross album, we had Jay-Z, we had Kendrick, we had Drake. And how do you fill in the gaps in between this? Where are some of the weak points and what can be brought that isn't there already? And there's different elements of it. You know, there's flow and there's swag and such. Speaking of swag, there was the 2 Chainz album. That 2 Chainz album was dope too. And how do you bring something different? And Redman, that is one of his specialties, is bringing a different element to hip hop. Because even what he sort of brought initially, that sort of crazy, outlandish sound, there hasn't really been anybody that can match it on his same level he did since. Now, another album that I see is coming out in May that I'm not excited for, but I'll just bring it up, is Tee Grizzly. It says his album's name's Activated, and it's coming out on May 11th. And I'm going to listen to it, and it'll probably be good, but I'm not excited for a Tee Grizzly album anymore. And I'm kind of upset that it feels like he wasted the promo. He had all eyes on him. Every single eye in hip hop was on Tee Grizzly for about a month. A month. Many people can't get eyes on him for a day. Can't get motherfuckers to look at him for a day. Jordan Lucas does everything for attention, and he's a dope rapper. He is great at rapping. His music itself, the as far as him putting together a whole album and songs, I could do without it. But he started to kind of find his lane as far as concepts. So he did the concept of the point of view from $100 bill, the same way Nas did the point of view of rapping from the point of view of a gun. He followed the same sort of concept. And it was dope, but the fucking song was like 7 minutes long. And the music video was cool too. But the thing is I didn't really like listening to it. Like, I don't enjoy turning Jordan Lucas on in the car. It's kind of, I don't want to say turn gimmicky, but it's kind of gimmicky. It doesn't have a lot of replay value. It's the same way I feel about like Little Dicky. And I'm only bringing him up because he had the song with Chris Brown. The song doesn't really have a lot of replay value. I listened to it in the car, and I watched the music video once each, and I'm good. I listened to it once and I'm good. I don't need to listen to it anymore. But so you see what all has to be done for people to pay attention to you for a weekend. Jordan Lucas, he did the racist video, and he had eyes on him for maybe a week at the most. After that, we were kind of moved on to it. We kind of moved on to the next. So Tee Grizzly probably had eyes on him for a good month because Jay-Z gave him the cosign. There is not a bigger cosign you can get in hip hop. I'm sorry. There's nobody else in hip hop that can give you a cosign that's bigger than a Jay-Z cosign. Not Diddy, not Ice Cube, not Nas, nobody. Probably the closest is maybe Dr. Dre. I'll give you Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre and probably Jay-Z. Those are the biggest cosigns you can get. And Jay-Z is never on Twitter. Never on social media. And he went on social media and he mentioned your name. And he mentioned Tee Grizzly among Rakim, among Ice Cube, among Nas, among Jeezy. He mentioned all their names and he mentioned Tee Grizzly at the same time. And all Tee Grizzly did was sit back, post pictures of Instagram with the money phone, jewelry, put out a couple singles, and that's it. And a year later, we're getting your album? Why? Why the fuck don't I listen to Tee Grizzly now? He had been climbing and getting more attention, especially with DJ Academics pushing him. And you peak. And rather than keep going at your peak, you just let yourself peak and go back down. I don't know if it was bad management or what. I think part of it maybe he wasn't getting enough attention from his management group or what, but it's really unfortunate that we had to wait a year to get a project from him. And all he really had for us was a mixtape. 10-song mixtape. That was it. What are you gonna do though? Anyways, Drake has really got shit on and popping here. Drake's supposed to have a new album called Scorpion in June. Super excited for that. Really feels like Drake is following his formula, getting ladies all hype and greased up and shit with God's Plan and Nice for What. And showed us that he's coming with some bars with Diplomatic Immunity and showing that he's coming with us with some young sound with that Block Boy and with the Trouble features. Same formula he's been following. You know, jump on some of the young cats, give them the stimulus package. So, I mean, Block Boy and Trouble, they were really jumping. Like they had a following, they had fans, they were doing well. They just got a big jump when Drake did their features, which always happens. Same way with Future. Future was killing shit and just hit another level when Drake did a song with him and they did Jumpman. So he's following the same formula. I think enough people have stopped copying Drake's sound that he's gonna sound unique again. And obviously his production from 40 is always key. It's amazing. I was listening to Thank Me Later in the car over last week, and wow. His music has evolved so much from since then. In a good way. It's phenomenal. It sounded great then, and it's so much greater now. So excited for that. Excited for a Nicki Minaj album. I really like Chun-Li and Barbie Things. Chun-Li I like more. I like that saxophone sample in there. That shit's hella dope. And I really hope that the Nicki Minaj comes out with minimum controversy. She's definitely been riding the controversy wave with Cardi B, with Quavo. And that's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's all for promo. Where she does an interview and where she mentions that Quavo did her wrong, did her dirty, and needs to apologize. And then in the music video, she's chilling with Quavo and post, "Are we good? He apologized." Like, really? Really? That's how you know this shit's all phony. But I will say though, I believe her shit with Remy Ma is genuine. And Remy Ma also coming this summer too. I think either May or June with 5 winters, 6 summers. I think it's or 7 winters, 6 summers or something like that. But her album coming out should be dope. And lastly, I'm gonna say Kanye West. I'm super excited for a Kanye West album, and there's a reason why that's other than the fact that he's just Kanye. And something Kanye has done and done super well since he's entered in hip hop. And it's the fact that he's acted as sort of a barometer for hip hop, showing what kind of state we're in. I know a lot of people didn't like the Life of Pablo album, me included, but I didn't realize until I talked to a younger audience, say like 17, 18, that they really liked the Life of Pablo album. And I don't really understand why, but until I listen to it again, and it fits. It fits as far as the music that came out that same year. If you compare the Life of Pablo to all the other music that came out the year before and that same year, very similar. And very similar, and it's better. The music that came out the same year, Life of Pablo, and I can't think of any particular songs off top, but check anything from Lil Uzi. Check anything from Lil Uzi. It sounds similar, but it's just way better on Kanye's album. And he shows you what he can do with the Ultralight Beam. He shows you what he's capable of. He can make any album that he made before, he can make it again if he wants to. He's got, even if he just digs in the vault of beats he already has, he can do it. But the thing is he's evolving his own music. He is growing his fan base by constantly keeping his music new. So you think when he first comes out and he does, I can't remember. I don't remember the first thing he came out with, but let's say Through the Wire. And he comes out with Through the Wire, and that shit comes out in the early 2000s, like 2002, 2003 type shit. And for the music that came out in 2003, that shit, if you compare it to Through the Wire, was fucking dope. And you listen to College Dropout, that song and those smooth beats, that fit, you could compare that to like a Mos Def or Talib Kweli album that came out the same year. It was very similar to, I believe, that Talib Kweli album in terms of production style, or style of beats, I should say. But it fit. And then if you fast forward to, I apologize, I'm slipping my mind. The album that had The Good Life on it and had Stronger. That album fit that T-Pain wave. And that's really what it's sort of, that's how it's gone in waves, where the music fits the time period. It fits what's coming out. So when he puts out Life of Pablo, he puts that out in the core of the mumble rap, in the heart of the mumble rap music. So that's what he gives you, mumble rap music. So if you think about all the music that has come out between now and the early 2000s, anybody that is probably under the age of 35 to 40 is a for sure Kanye West fan, and for sure listened to one of his albums when it first came out and loved it. Just because it fit that time period. It was dope. If you're 18 right now, The Life of Pablo came out when you were 16, and it was dope at the time. When I was like 12 or 13 or some shit, College Dropout came out. That was fucking dope at the time. And that's why I want to hear another College Dropout album. And The Good Life, I was like in high school when that came out. So I kind of want to hear another one, but I'm okay if I don't hear another one. That's cool too. But either way, Kanye West has served as a barometer for hip hop, and it's expanded his fan base massively. And that's just part of him as a producer not wanting to make the same thing over again. He's an artist at the end of the day. He doesn't want to make the same piece over and over again. If you want another College Dropout album, go listen to College Dropout. If you want another Dark Twisted Fantasy type album, go listen to Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's just kind of the name of the game. If that's the type of music you want, you got to listen to it, to what already came out, or you got to make the music yourself. Or you got to find someone that's doing something similar. I love West Coast music. I love that funk. And nobody really does funk the way that Dub C and Ice Cube are doing funk. No one does funk the way Too Short was doing funk. But then E40 Be Legit come out. Ooh, that shit is funky. That is funky like a motherfucker. But then if I want more West Coast, I can go listen to Nipsey Hussle. Or DJ Quick still putting out albums. And that shit is West Coast as fuck. Well, DJ Quick's never really put out an album where his name is the artist, and this shit is not West Coast as fuck. So it's there. The same thing like I was saying earlier. You just gotta find it. But this is what has me so excited for a Kanye West album, is because he is the barometer of hip hop. Hip hop is entering the phase of the purge of mumble rap, and we're getting back into the lyricism. So I'm curious to see what he puts together. I'm sure he'll put together a Grammy project. Sure he will. 100%. 100%. And I'll address this a little bit just because we're on the subject of Kanye West, and I think it's a good example is Funk Flex. Funk Flex, I also like to call the oldest internet troll in hip hop. He was giving shit to Cardi B for not writing her own music. And I don't know. Obviously, I know she doesn't write 100% of the shit herself. But one, I don't care. And two, I don't think I don't think she just gets handed over everything. I think she probably has a little bit she puts together, and then motherfuckers tighten that shit up for her. But Kanye West does the same thing. Kanye West does not write 100% of his music. At a point he did write everything. But in more recent years, he doesn't. If you think about it, for time's sake alone, he doesn't write his own music, which is why he's got Pusha T and Sci-Hi there and different other people that he has come in to help him with the project, to help him tighten the shit up for him. Where that's all they do. These are writers. These are professional writers. So who better to have your shit tightened up? And there's nothing wrong with winning awards with a team. There's nothing wrong with putting together a dope album with a team. Kendrick Lamar, as dope as he is as an artist, he has an amazing team with him with TDE. TDE is killing the game. I just saw their video for the championship tour, and it's fucking dope. They spend the money and they spend the time to get good production, to get good people working on it, and to grow their people. All the in-house producers for TDE have grown themselves over time, like Soundwave. And all the artists have grown. Schoolboy Q has grown. SZA has grown. Absol's grown. J Rock grown. Kendrick's grown. They've all grown over time. And that's what you want. And they've grown, and it's helped them remain relevant. And now they can feed off of each other. So then SZA can have a hit song with Kendrick and vice versa. And Schoolboy, can go out and he can get Kanye or he can get SZA. It doesn't matter. You can get the help or you cannot. But either way, having a team there's nothing wrong with it. If Kendrick Lamar needs to have a team to put together the damn album, then fuck it, do it. I don't want a subpar album because you were stressing having to do it all yourself. I'd rather have a better Kanye album where if I look at the credits, it's got Pusha T and Sci-Hi on there, or Q-Tip helps him with production. I'd rather see that and have one of the most amazing pieces of work of all time than to have a good, decent, or subpar album where he did everything himself. That's just my thoughts on him. That's just my thoughts on it. And that's kind of just the state of hip hop I feel like it's in. It's doing great. I'm excited. If anybody tells you that hip hop's not in a good place, they a liar and they not in the know and they don't know. But that's all for today. This is your boy Daniel Ty, D-Ty 90 with the Falsetto Hip Hop Show, and we'll see you next time.